domestic and foreign policy presidency almost ever. Thank you, mainstream media, for your accurate reporting. Oh, he'll probably get a Nobel Peace Prize on the way out, too.
The United States remains prepared to conclude a set of historic deals with Saudi Arabia, to include a security pact and economic assurances, together with a credible pathway for establishing a Palestinian state and the full normalization of relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel. A desire they both have. I believe this agenda remains possible. And in my remaining time in office, I'll work tirelessly to advance this vision for an integrated, secure, and prosperous region, all of which strengthens America's national security.
Okay. A special thank you to the Genocide Joe, Donald Trump voters. Because now Donald Trump's coming in, and it'll be the end of the world as we know it. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the apocalypse. Thanks for the rapture. Thanks for everything. Happy Thanksgiving. All right. In an effort to please everyone all the time in this new era, Chris Lavoie is wearing a beanie hat, which Bruce, are you happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce said that Chris looked like a dork in his backwards baseball cap. And he's like, what's next? A beanie hat with a propeller? So Chris Lavoie, because he gives and he gives for you, America.
Yeah.
He bought a
You asked for it, Bruce.
rainbow beanie propeller. I'm going to get my blow dryer so that'll just keep going all morning.
I wish.
A small fan that just keeps it going.
I wish it would. Yeah.
Are you happy, Bruce? What else can we do for you?
Help us help you.
Oh, I did determine Thom. Hi, Thom. That calls me a bulimic ditch licker every day on Twitter. He was referring to Cliff Schechter, I believe, when he called him a left-wing, bone-smoking bagel breath.
Yes, he was.
Because I remember that he also called Bob Seska a bone smoker. So,
but neither one of them smoke bones.
No,
I'm the only one.
That's what I said to Bob. I said, apparently you are it, who is also banging the hottest blonde woman in America. Because that's an insult. That's a homophobic insult even to straight men, is that you're a bone smoker of some. Chris, just to stipulate, is the only bone smoker. Beanie Boy over there is the only bone smoker.
I'm good at it,
among
too.
those.
Me too.
Me too. Although it's been a while.
Yeah, since the KBC parking lot.
I didn't do that in the KBC parking lot. How many times must I tell you there was only kissing? I mentioned yesterday that Lauren Boebert is on Cameo to give you for $250 to give you
was on Cameo
tips. Oh, is she gone already?
Oh yeah, the ethics committee had something to say to her.
She's gone.
She took it down.
All right, then you know what? Come to me for tips on BJ's and handy J's. I was really good at it because I was a Catholic girl because I did everything but. I'm sure between the three of us, we can give you way better handy BJ tips than Lauren Boebert could. Really? We hardly knew ye. Okay.
Now, I know that Mormons count, backdoor action as not intercourse.
Do they? Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
well,
yeah.
that's why I was the last remaining Bill Clinton defender.
So
Because I was
Catholics
like,
do the same
sexual
thing?
relations means intercourse.
Right.
With a penis and a vagina.
Right.
Thank you for putting a finer point on that.
But if it's some
Yes.
backdoor action, that doesn't count.
No. Yes.
Yet they didn't allow gay people in the
i.e.
church forever.
IEC Stephanie's college Italy story. Okay.
Didn't we tell that on the
Yes.
Yeah.
on the
Listen,
Patreon?
you really got to get Patreon
Gotta get Patreon.
if you want to support this.
We told it
whole
on the last
thing.
Patreon.
Also, we'd like to welcome you Morning Joe viewers who are apparently all here now.
Apparently.
Wow. MSNBC loses half its viewers in the wake of the 2024 election. Morning Joe recorded some of their lowest numbers in years. They saw an almost 40% drop right after Joe and Mika went to kiss Trump's ass, which we've obviously been talking about this. And I have to say, who is this? Hold, please. I thought Kathy made an interesting point regarding Joe and Mika. The most disappointing thing for me that as a common as is common now in the time of Orange, they do the same thing he does, double down rather than admit fault. It's become common. I don't think most even remember the words, I'm so sorry, I apologize. Heartfelt acknowledgement of mistakes does not exist anymore. Nope. So sad.
Nope.
I think that's true. Down. It was Joe's smugness and dismissal of his audience. Like, it's just a few social media idiots. And, all my rich friends that called me on the phone thought it was great. I mean, that's what's called being out of touch with your audience.
Yes.
And can I just say, why can we still rename it United States of Mark Elias? Why can we not? He's been speaking out about this, and he goes on the network a lot. But he just said, I asked the people in power with large platforms and public profiles, for the last few years, you've been saying what everyday Americans need to do. Isn't it your time to stand up? Isn't it your time to show some heroism? Isn't it your time to do what you expected from others? Thank you, Mark. I think that's all it is. And so I love that he and others have been, amateur programmers of MSNBC. But I have lots of suggestions. Do you? I was saying Joy Reid's morning show was the best ever. Put AM Joy in there and then move, they have so much great weekend talent. Move Jen Psaki or Ali Velshi or somebody from, Katie Fang. They have such great weekend talent. Move them into that slot. Can I make a request? Can you have Lawrence O'Donnell on earlier? That's just a personal thing. I love him so much and I have to watch clips because I can't live without him. But could you how about Ari Melber's slot? I feel like I've heard all the rap phrases I need.
Lawrence wants to work that slot.
I think Lawrence likes that time slot a lot.
Yeah. All right. Lawrence, call me. Let's talk.
You know who I'd love to see in the morning time slot?
Who?
Ali Velshi and Stephanie Ruhle. When they were together before,
they'd be great.
They were amazing.
Yeah. They'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think the weekend show was great. With Michael Steele was on fire yesterday on Nicole Wallace.
He's going to sting you.
But he's an example of someone, and he's still a Republican. Like Joe Scarborough says he's a former Republican, and he kisses that much Trump ass. Michael Steele, at least, is still being a warrior about what just a complete tragedy this is. So and what do you call it? Alicia Menendez, I love, and Simone Sanders, Chris particularly enjoys.
Yes, loves her so much.
I love her. I don't care what you say. She's a young African-American woman. She is fierce. It's a good balance, that weekend show, I think. But anyway, I just think they have a lot of choices to move things around and to strengthen, the people that don't bend the knee. Because trust me, that is not what a liberal audience wants right now. And, one thing I learned, nobody watches CNN. Holy cow.
But they went so far right, nobody watches them.
That's
anymore.
what I mean. There is an audience. Obviously, if you think only 32% of America voted for Trump, there's an audience for a really robust progressive channel. And I just think, Morning Joe is obviously dragging down the whole network, and particularly right before they do the spinoff or whatever. Yes, I'm sorry. What?
No, I was just going to say that
I can't take you seriously. Your propeller is wagging at me.
I like it.
Don't move your head. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was saying that there is, someone who has had experience in that time slot.
That's true. There is quite a groundswell for that.
Yes.
Meaning, a couple people on Twitter, a couple emails.
We were there for 2 days.
No, it was more than that, I think.
No, it was 2.
I thought it was 3.
No, it was 2.
Maybe you got in one day and then you worked 2 days and then you went home.
And then they brought.
Well, every day seems like a year in Secaucus. So.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, pardon me. Almost snorted on
and because that show is on from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. We were on at our time from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Yes, our body clock time.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah.
Boy, howdy. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask Lawrence if he likes that time slot.
I think he does.
We saved him. He credited us with saving him last time. MSNBC was thinking about whatever. We have enormous power. I have an unbelievable inflated sense of self-importance from my basement. You know why? Because it's Thanksgiving week and so many listeners are thankful. And we are so thankful for our listeners, aren't we? I have time to get to all these, but it's Thanksgiving week. What better time? Diane from Dallas, Texas, a blue dot in a red state. Damn, Steph, thank you. I could just not turn on my computer the last couple of weeks. I was busy laying in bed eating mac and cheese and ginger snaps. It's a weird combination, but you do you. You do
ginger
you,
snaps
Diane.
are not my favorite cookie at all.
They're fine.
So this morning, I'm catching up with the podcast, and oh boy, you and Chris and your guests and Jody and the community of Steph heads help me feel less alone. I know that you're in grief too, but you're holding us all up. Thank you. I love you all. We love you, Diane, even though that's a little bit of a weird culinary choice.
Yes, you did.
Huh?
I think
I made someone feel better?
She knew about the hat.
What was I going to say? Oh, Chris and I were looking at that guy that ate like Trump. He said, I ate like Trump for a week. I don't know how that guy is still alive. I'm just saying, you know what? You know me. I'm a happy clappy. I feel like the arteries may be the ultimate winner in this whole. Oh my God.
Not going to lie.
If you did not think he was already a disgusting pig, his McDonald's order is 2 Big Macs, 2 fish fillet sandwiches, and a chocolate milkshake.
Not going to lie. That kind of sounds delicious, but not every meal.
Oh,
No,
oh!
not
You want to know what his Kentucky Fried Chicken order is? An entire bucket of chicken, no sides.
I would smash.
Oh God!
Not every meal, but that sounds delicious.
Not to
God,
me.
he's gross. Ay. Okay.
I don't look down upon fast food. Fast food is good.
I don't have a problem with fast food, but
I
some of
look
that's
down on
just
fast
gross.
food and everything Sharon Stone looks down on. I don't care. You see, she's causing a bit of.
She's causing
Consternation.
A stir.
Yeah.
Yes.
She and Alec Baldwin are
Is she
causing
wrong,
a
though?
stir. No, she's not wrong.
Wait a minute. What's she saying?
She said Trump won because Americans are uneducated and they don't travel. I'm saying
That's
that
not
is part.
helpful.
That is part of it. And also, she said keep your daughters
Away from them.
granddaughters and whatever away from them. Is she wrong about that? How many rapists has he tried to what do you appoint to his cabinet? Oh my God, his whole au revoir is rapey. Or, pardon me.
She can't. I don't even try anymore.
Au revoir means goodbye.
Yes, au revoir means goodbye.
Well, bonjour.
No, that means
That means hello.
Well,
it means good morning. and
Whatever.
good day.
don't give me ennui.
Oh God.
Sean says, Steph, I want to add my voice to the chorus of supported listeners who owe you so much for what you do. I kid you not. This is a true Stephanie story. Beanie Boy.
Okay. All right.
On Wednesday, when I wanted nothing more than to stay in the fetal position all day, I said to myself, Stephanie Miller's going to put on her big girl panties, hypothetically, if she wore panties.
Exactly.
Right, so that's probably a bad...
Right.
But yeah, okay. And do her job, I can too. Your strength in letting yourself be vulnerable on the air, getting things wrong, i.e. the Russian man who catfished you. Okay, I thought she was a hot blonde architect from somewhere.
From where?
I don't remember.
Where did she say she was
Yeah,
from?
wasn't she
I
from
don't
not
remember
this
now.
country?
Yeah, she was from not this country.
I blanked it all out. It was probably a 400-pound man in Russia. Where did she say? I don't remember.
She was not from here.
Lithuania?
No,
Something like that?
no,
Moldova?
no. I'll think of it. Okay, and more often getting things right.
Transylvania.
Transylvania.
Okay, stop. The guest
She's a
name's over.
bloodsucker. She was a bloodsucker.
And often getting things right. Make the rest of us feel like we'd also deserve grace when we're wrong. Thinking America is better than it is. My mom died over a year ago. She was 94 and had dementia. The things you've shared about your own journey have given me comfort and given me strength. I'll stay a listener as I have been since the Bush years. You know what's interesting, Chris? I have Bush years, which didn't include in the parking lot in KBC. You know what I mean? I have Bush years and then non-Bush years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That don't have to do with
You're
the
having
presidency.
a current half non-Bush year.
You're having a non-Bush year at all.
Not by choice. Okay, and a podcast subscriber since 16. That is still the best deal in the business, and that's the
is.
best way to support the Stephanie Miller Show. Get the commercial-free podcast.
Commercial-free.
It's crazy cheap. You can listen anytime commercial-free.
Yep.
Okay. I adore your show. Truly appreciate the voices you bring to the table. I'll put up with the fart jokes to get the rest of the amazing content you provide. Some people are come for the fart jokes and then just endure the amazing content.
Fart jokes shouldn't be something you put up with.
No, exactly. Am I the first one that told you about the Chart Your Fart app?
Yes. You get
I
the news here.
hope you can get it here and not just in Australia, because that's awesome. God, Carney Wilson must have gotten that the minute I said it.
She did, yeah.
She records her farts and names them, and if you've heard Toboggan, oh my God. That's her and our favorite. Okay. Where was I? Oh, I could not agree more that progressive media investment is what we need to coalesce around as we try to find our way forward out of the encroaching darkness. All my best to you, Jody, Chris, and all your amazing guests. Sean in NoHo. Thank you, Sean. We are so thankful. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our, Stephanie, our little Island of Misfit Toys Thanksgiving family, including Beanie Boy. Okay. we have... Bob Seska, Carlos Alzraki, and Florida Democratic Party Chair Nikki Fried to do an episode of WTF Florida. Oh, dear God. Okay, 21 minutes after. picture of myself going in and out of the dog door. Hello. Good morning, Thom. Do you mean that in a dirty way or just hi?
In a Mormon way.
Oh, yes. I could just imagine a bag of hangers going through the dog door. So is the dog door still big for the Pyrenees?
Yes.
Or did you make it smaller? Okay, so at least this is physically tangible. But Chris, please post a picture of Steph using the dog door. That would really brighten my day.
You're taking everything beautiful and making it dirty again, Thom. How dare you? Just wants my ass. Just, Yeah. Maybe I can get stuck and I was going to say when Jody and I can be Lucy and Ethel trying to get in and out of the dog door in another madcap adventure. By the way, we did it again. We started the guessing game on the "Oh bitch, please take your lineable to the corner store."
We're getting some lovely
where
answers.
That was from.
Yeah.
Seth says the line "Oh bitch, please" is from the original cut of Miracle on 34th Street. It's the original line Natalie Wood said when John Payne told her that the Macy's Santa Claus was the real Santa.
I'm into that.
It is not from Miracle on 34th Street. Black Betty said, "Bitch, please" is Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia from The Empire Strikes. No, it's not.
Yes.
Somebody said it's from The Duff, and I need to just watch it.
Yeah.
You are ridiculous,
bitch.
Stephanie Miller Show
Please,
family. All right.
take your line of bull down to the corner market and sell it there, because this 5 and dime isn't buying your line today.
Granted, that'd be funny if that was in Miracle on 34th Street.
I think so.
From Natalie Wood.
Bob Seska is next. Hi, you old bone smoker.
That's my favorite thing ever.
Welcome to our new morning show, Bulimic Ditch Licker and the Beanie Boy.
Yeah. Remember for a while I was using Dick Pinch as
yes.
my name,
yes.
my login name for Zoom. I think it's going to be Bone Smoker now. That's
we are changing the name of the show to Bulimic Ditch Licker and Beanie Boy.
Yeah, and see, the problem is then I'm going to do like a serious Zoom call later on with like my accountant or something, and my name's going to come up Bone Smoker.
Dick Pinch.
Because that happened a bunch of times with Dick Pinch. When I was Dick Pinch on Zoom, I would do like a regular with my cousin or my uncle or something like that. And, oh, here I'm Dick Pinch. Good to meet you.
Oh God, because we're now in the new despicable Jesse Waters era, but I miss that idiot Bill O'Reilly. He fell for everything, right?
Dick Pinch, Clear Lake, Iowa.
That's it.
All right,
Dick Pinch,
sorry,
Clear
Bob.
Lake, Iowa. Yeah, and by the way, that clip that you played coming out of the commercial of that guy with the accent talking about lesbians or whatever he's
bald-headed lesbians.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
with nose rings.
I guess we're now back in that era of people doing parodies of callers from that movie Talk Radio with Eric Bogosian.
Right.
That guy, that sounded exactly like something out of that movie. If you haven't seen Talk Radio with Eric Bogosian, it's a great movie
Really
about
good.
radio.
Yeah.
And every single caller sounds like that guy, and it's terrifying. You expect, like, Stephanie's opening up a box that has, like, a Nazi flag in it and a rat, just chain smoking.
By the way, Chris, it should be Bulimic Ditch Licker and the bone smoking Beanie Boy.
Right.
Pardon me.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Dick Licker and Bone Smoker in the morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our new radio team.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, Bob, you retweeted the cartoon Evolution of the GOP of Nixon, I am not a crook, and Trump just going, I'm a crook, so what? And you just said 76 million Americans, yeah, so what? I mean, our friend, Joe Walsh said something like that, like, yeah, I blame Merrick Garland, but you blame the 76 million people that went, yeah, okay. They saw the same things we did, right? I mean, even if you, I get it, the disinformation, they believe him, that all was a witch hunt, all of these juries, his peers. But, at the end of the day, they saw January 6th with their own eyes, right?
Right. And we're back in this place again where we were 5, 6, 7 years ago, where we're talking about how there need to be serious reforms for the presidency, reeling in executive power. And I think if you were to get in your time-traveling DeLorean and go back to 1776 and explain to the founders, what do you think? Should the president be immune from prosecution? Should the president be able to just take office even though he's been convicted of 34 felony counts? Should this president have all charges dropped against them? And they would go, well, what are you talking about? This is exactly what we're fighting against. This is the sort of thing that we're opposed to, and you should not do that, future people with your weird-looking silver car. And so this is something that needs to, because first of all, Donald Trump shouldn't be allowed to be inaugurated, given the fact that he's been adjudicated as an insurrectionist. That disqualifies him.
You
and Congress
retweeted
needs to vote to ameliorate that.
You retweeted Lawrence Tribe, but it's just the fact that we live in a world where we know, like, oh, well, that won't matter, right? I mean, Lawrence Tribe said not that anyone's going to do anything about it, but it might be good to remember that as an educated, oath-breaking insurrectionist, Mr. Trump is constitutionally disqualified under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment from taking the oath. But, that's the problem, Bob, is I feel like even Glenn Kirshner yesterday is like, well, we have a king, right, at least for now. Yeah. We don't live in a land of, Yeah,
I think we all who follow politics understand that there are certain traditions and norms of the presidency and American government that kind of hold everything together. It's this gigantic loophole that Donald Trump is consistently exploiting because he sees those norms and traditions as, well, they're not laws, they're not rules. Right. I can just walk right through them. Doesn't matter. And so we're seeing that time and time again where the deference and to the extent that we're criticizing Merrick Garland, Merrick Garland has significant deference, even though he was the first attorney general to charge a former president with crimes. That's an important factor here, or to prosecute a former president. the fact of the matter is that there's way too much deference when it comes to obvious criminals, obvious con men.
Bob, Rude Pundit, a point too. He said, "I will never get over the idea an old memo at the Department of Justice is what allowed Trump to get away with insurrection and stealing top secret documents. Not a law, not a trial. He's very filthy. God memo. It's really the stupidest, most bureaucratic way for this country to die. I mean, it really is treated like a memo says."
Yeah. There's lots of OLC memos. I found one that said, a president can be prosecuted for the same crimes that they were impeached and acquitted for. So if the president gets impeached in the House, goes to the Senate, they get acquitted in the Senate, they can still be charged after they leave office. There's an OLC memo that says that.
Yeah.
Obviously now, I guess the Supreme Court supersedes that. If it's part of official duties, it doesn't matter. But it should matter. This is what, again, this is what the United States was founded to push back against, this sort of untouchable executive post that now has been, as I said, exploited by a known con man.
Donald Trump would wipe his ass with a memo. He wouldn't,
of course, he has no respect for any of this stuff. He has no respect for the traditions and norms of the presidency. We knew that from day one. And so that's why I think we missed an opportunity in this previous 4 years. Obviously, we did the Electoral Count Act, but there needs to be more guardrails established for the presidency. I don't care if it's a constitutional amendment or something, defining the boundaries very clearly and making sure that there are repercussions for presidents who step across those boundaries.
And can I just say, Tristan Snell said a jury convicted Trump on 34 felony counts. Grand juries voted on all 4 indictments of Trump. Juries of citizens like you and me. They saw the evidence and said the cases were legit. All of that democratic accountability now just gets wiped away. We will never forget. I mean... We're going to be the keepers of this time in history, right? When Trump tries to erase all of it from the history books, right?
That's what's so important, especially given the fact that Donald Trump and the MAGA movement is in power right now, that we hold fast to the things that we know to be true, to the facts of this period of time, and make sure that posterity understands what we've all gone through, and that this group that's in office right now is going to be in office doesn't revise things as they so often do. And we need to make sure that doesn't happen. You
retweeted, Greg Sargent said, interesting empty wheel piece urging Dems to use Pam Bondi's confirmation hearings to highlight in advance the epic corruption that Trump is about to unleash. This is why I hope, the whole point of this is that Jack Smith can release a report. So there is a record of all this. I mean, and you retweeted Andrew Weinstein, who said inability to pass a background check to obtain a security clearance should automatically disqualify a nominee for any national security related position, and every single senator should be asked to go on the record to confirm that they agree with this. I mean, there are some ways that we can still fight back and go, are you effing kidding me, for the national security of the United States, right?
Right.
Okay, so by the way, go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'm mildly heartened by the fact that there are a couple of Republicans who are standing on principle right now and trying to push back against the more egregious trespasses, sidestepping FBI clearances and things like that. I think Lisa Murkowski and a few others are
the usual.
Pretty hard and fast in terms of, making sure that Trump goes through normal channels with all of this.
Now, I know we're told not to talk down to people, but you just tweeted vast dumbness. You retweeted Bill Scher, who said, "Good luck, America." People have voted, for lower prices of goods and services, their highest priority, almost 80%. Then they said, "Do you favor or oppose U.S. placing new tariffs on other countries?" And the majority said yes. Then they were asked, "Do you think the new tariffs on goods from other countries would generally make the prices of things you buy higher?" A percentage said yes. And just now the networks are starting to do stories about what a tariff is. And Americans, that was one of the most Googled things the day after the election. What's a tariff? And it's okay.
I mean, Jody and I started a segment on Thursdays called "You Were Warned." We talked about this for God knows how long, years, about how tariffs will cause prices to go back up, mass deportations will cause prices to go catastrophically high. I mean, the disaster economically in this country is going to be enormous. And I guess the only way out is if Donald Trump is just bluffing about this stuff. I mean, that's what it's down to now the security, the future of the American economy depends on whether Donald Trump is bluffing about these things, whether he's just going to try, like he did with the wall, where he built, a couple of feet worth of new wall and then said, I built the whole entire wall. And so, it comes down to hoping that that's going to be the case. I mass deported 11 million people, and it's actually 11. He's going to 11 period.
Yes, he's going to declare victory on everything, Bob, and it'll be just the way he won, all based on lies. He'll just decide, okay, tariffs are over now, and I brought prices down. None of it has to be true.
And one of the things he's going to do, if prices do go up, if he does implement these tariffs, which right now on the table is anywhere from 10 to 25% tariffs, and prices go through the roof according to those numbers, and he's going to go, well, this is Joe Biden's economy. This is where we all come in. This is where we have to make sure to loudly and in unity push back against this idea that he's going to pull this stunt, that he's going to blame Joe Biden if prices go up, even though it's his tariffs and mass deportations that make prices go up. We got to make sure that we get the word out, because one of the flaws of this past campaign is we didn't do a good enough job interrupting the flow of disinformation from Donald Trump's mouth to the ears of people who should know better, who don't necessarily buy Donald Trump's merch, who don't support the MAGA movement, but who voted for him anyway. And we got to interrupt that flow of disinformation and do a better job at messaging.
And, your friend and mine, Rachel Bidikofer, was on yesterday, and, she said she was screaming at Democrats to go negative. And it's not in our nature, but unfortunately, this is, the gun we need in a gunfight. Not a butter knife, so.
Yeah, but Rachel's all about negative partisanship. The idea that it's not so much we love the Democrats, it's that we hate the Republicans, or
and not negative,
vice versa.
Not negative lies, negative truth. Is the
exactly.
I think our biggest
we're tethered to the facts and reality, and if we can just use that and more effectively message that, I think we come out on top every single time.
I think
people want to believe the truth.
I loved your retweet of Borowitz Report, who just said, doomsaying is lazy, hope requires work. And I am and can I just say on this Thanksgiving, I'm so thankful for you. I am so thankful for, the progressive warriors we have in this whole universe of ours. Because I just love that everybody in your own way, you're staying in this fight. You're finding a way to stay positive and to inspire people. And you inspire me. You lift me up. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And the feeling is absolutely mutual, Stephanie. You are the center of our universe here, and I've been encouraging everyone to support independent media, starting with the Stephanie Miller Cinematic Universe.
Yes, I'm the chewy nougaty center. I'm the little nougaty center. I'm the one you like getting, that you're like, what's that? No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll use that to get to Bob Seska and, Dino Badala and John Fugelsang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start here, patreon.com/Stephanie Miller Show. That's where you get started, is supporting independent media, and then you can work your way out from there to all of the other satellite shows and personalities and people. And
Bob Seska is what is he? He's like I can't forget which center it is. It's, it's a nut, but it's like it's a healthy nut. And I'm just saying the Bob Seska Show is essential to America. SexyLiberal.com.
He's the peanuts in our gorp.
Thank you.
There you go.
You're the peanuts in our gorp, Bob. Good night. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, 49 minutes. Remember, there's always a plate for you here at the Stephanie Miller Show, family. I'm with Brooklyn Dad Defiant. If this is you, I'm with you. He says, I gotta say, it's pretty funny to me that people are crying that they're not welcome at their family's house for Thanksgiving after voting for Trump. Like, no, you're not entitled to a nice, pleasant dinner with decent folks after you voted for a adjudicated rapist whose policies will jack up prices, break up families, end healthcare coverage, and more. I have zero sympathy for you Googling, can I change my vote, dumbasses, after you saw the same January 6th that we did. He's the same irresponsible who botched the response to COVID, only he's much worse now physically and mentally. Go take your ass to McDonald's. Thank you, Brooklyn Dad. All right, Nikki Fried, chairman of the Democratic Party of Florida, next.
Welcome to Caffeinated, where we focus on the parts of a story that really matter by showing compassion to the opposing side. Take, if you will, Steve Bannon, the man who said, "Darkness is good." Darth Vader, Dick Cheney, Satan, that's power. Who published the op-ed, "Birth Control Makes Women Unattractive and Crazy," and many other op-eds for Breitbart, most of which read better in the original German. Who warned the media should keep their mouth shut, and that same media can't stop desperately trying to book him on all their shows. You guys, seriously, I'm a little worried about Steve Bannon. Not because he brazenly defied a congressional subpoena about his role in the terrorist attacks on our nation's capital of January 6, 2021, wagging his junk at it, citing executive privilege, even though he'd been fired by the White House back in January 2017 and was working at the time of said attack as a podcaster, and not because he's a white supremacist who published a lot of white supremacist articles and supported the border wall and the Muslim ban and lots of authoritarian dictators, and who actually did say that cities could be washed away in an orgy of de-gentrification. No, I'm worried about Steve Bannon because the man looks like an alcoholic Thom. Have you seen this guy? He looks like a sack of pus that developed rickets. He looks like gout that caught gout. The man does not look well. Yeah, that's Steve Bannon, the one who was arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht and indicted by a federal grand jury for wire fraud and money laundering because he was ripping off Trump supporters donating to his Build the Wall campaign, and then Trump pardoned him for ripping off his own MAGA faithful. That guy. Is he okay? I'm just worried because Steve Bannon looks like a guy who was up watching porn till 6:45 a.m. and his alarm was set for 7. He looks like the guy in the office that HR has to physically give a deodorant stick to after one too many coworker complaints. He looks like a diseased leprechaun freebasing in the Port Authority bus terminal men's room. But we need to put aside our petty differences and recognize that this is clearly a fellow human being who is in pain. Can we do that? Do we have the humanity to reach out with love to Steve Bannon? Because he looks like the guy in the zombie movie who doesn't want the other survivors to know he got bit in the last scene. He looks like an infected toe. He looks like that uncle who comes over and smells of cigarettes and cat piss and always wants you to sit on his lap, but you're 15. I'm just worried about the guy is all I'm saying. And yes, I know his wife alleges he physically abused her and wouldn't let their kids go to school with Jewish children. I know YouTube has taken down his videos because they glorify violence, and Facebook took down his videos for glorifying violence, and Twitter has banned him for glorifying violence. And I know he said that Mussolini was a guy's guy who had amazing fashion sense. He said that. But in fairness, lots of people who aren't fascists praise Mussolini's style. But I am asking you to look into your hearts and find some compassion. Because Steve Bannon looks like a guy whose parole officer makes him knock on every door and introduce himself whenever he moves to a new neighborhood. He looks like Pigpen the Hutt. Steve Bannon looks like a guy who was just forced to drive cross-country in a small car with no ventilation and the windows rolled up while sitting next to Steve Bannon. He's not a healthy man. We are just concerned because he looks like he just ate 20 pounds of cheese and it's coming out of his facial pores. And by the way, I know what you're thinking. What right do I have to make fun of Steve Bannon's appearance when I look like Joe Exotic's mullet donor? It's true, I still have my pandemic hair, but I know it. See, number one, I accept that I look like the love child of Beethoven and Loki. I look like John Wick during a nationwide Moroccan oil shortage. But number two, I'm just concerned about him. So while you cynically fixate on the fact that he called the Civil War the War of Southern Independence, or that he looks like physical proof that white supremacists are the greatest argument against the concept of white supremacy, and he said that conservative women are better than progressive women because, and I quote, they're not a bunch of dykes that came from the Seven Sisters School up in New England. You ask, how can Steve Bannon sleep at night? I say, in a puddle of his own sick. But that's mean. We gotta be the good guys and look after him and make sure he's okay. Because he looks like a police sketch artist rendition of mutated gonorrhea. And that's why we're starting Steve Pack. Your selfless donation, MAGA fans, of $100 or more will allow us to buy multiple shirts for Steve Bannon, all of which he can wear at the same time. Then, when he vomits Jägermeister up on the top shirt, he can simply remove it and continue his broadcast. So if you see Steve Bannon, put aside your differences and offer him your hand. But you know to wash it, like right away. Like, wash that shit. And don't touch your face either, okay? Just offer your hand, but then soak the entire hand in bleach for half a day. Soak the whole arm in bleach for half a day. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. And remember, if Donald Trump pardons Steve Bannon for stealing from white nationalist Trump supporters, maybe we should thank Trump for setting Steve free to continue his fine patriotic work.
That is a good identifier. So we can identify you. We don't want your offspring. We don't want to have sex with you.
Oh, no.
You're nasty. You're disgusting. You're like a flea. We don't want you, period. Get. Bye-bye.
Oh, wow.
Okay, bye-bye. I'm sorry. I'll just be over here recovering from him not wanting to have sex with me. Oh, God. I don't think I was really a lesbian until just that moment. Okay. As a guy calling C-SPAN. Okay. Listen, we've been wanting to meet this lady for a long time. I'm sorry, now that I'm in my downward spiral. Florida Democratic Chair Nikki Fried is here. We could not be more excited. You just said, I love your tweet. You said, we told you they wanted to make America Florida. And you said he picked America. Let us introduce you to Pam Bondi. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Nikki, where do we even start with Pam Bondi? You go first.
Well, first of of all, thanks for having me on, and I love waking up to that caller. That just really kind of sets the tone for so much of what's going to be the next 4 years. But yeah, it's watching kind of after the election and watching one Republican after the other from Florida make its way to Washington D.C. and it kind of keeps getting worse. We started off with Susie Wiles, and then we went to Marco Rubio, and then we went to Mike Waltz, and then we went to Mike Huckabee, who had a short stay here in the state of Florida. Then Matt Gaetz, and now we're at Pam. They're like really picking the.
At least Marco Rubio is just a spineless weasel.
Right.
But
I don't know who's going to trust him in a negotiation room.
Nikki, I know we're not in any kind of normal world, political or otherwise, right now. But how do you get confirmed as Attorney General when I'm not a lawyer? But how is that not a bribe she took? When she took $25,000 to drop the suit against Trump University, which when they did prosecute it in state after state, he was found guilty as sin in the Trump University scam. Then you got someone, she's on record as being an election denier. Then on record as saying she will prosecute the prosecutors and investigate the investigators. There's not a normal world that she would be confirmed in, is there?
No, there's not a normal world. That somebody who has built her entire reputation of being just in bed with special interests and lobbyists and people that are pay to play. And she wasn't Florida's Attorney General. She was a special interest Attorney General, and she's certainly not going to be the people's Attorney General. She's going to be the attorney for Donald Trump. Right. She's done that, prosecuted. If you remember, during the first impeachment, she was represented Donald Trump. She, filed a lawsuit against the ACA, which I think that we need to be very clear. The ACA is Obamacare. I think that now everybody's
don't tell them. Yeah. Right.
But
you said you retweeted. She attempted to sue the ACA out of existence and overturn the pre-existing conditions rule. This is who she is, right?
That's right. And for anybody who's listening from Florida, there are 4.2 million Floridians that are on Obamacare ACA. And some of the reddest parts of our state, including Hialeah's #1 city. So when they start getting rid of ACA, all of these people who are using healthcare are going to find themselves in a really big bind, not able to find the access that they need.
We're looking for silver linings, Nikki, and at least we have been spared from Senate Majority Leader Rick Scott, who I still don't understand why he's not in prison for Medicare fraud. I'm sorry, go ahead. What?
I have one more silver lining.
Yes.
Susie Wiles despises Ron DeSantis.
Oh.
So that's a very big silver lining. Ron DeSantis will have no access to the White House. He will have to come on his hands and knees begging for access and help, and she's going to slam the door on him single.
Yeah, and Nikki, you retweeted about Florida this week agreed to pay $725,000 in legal fees after losing a lawsuit that challenged a signature anti-woke law pushed by Ron DeSantis to restrict workplace training about race. And you just said more of your money gone because of Ron's culture wars. These are the fiscal conservatives that remember how they used to always scream about frivolous lawsuits?
Right, frivolous lawsuits, frivolous spending of taxpayer dollars, conservatism. He literally has signed into law the largest state budgets in Florida's history. He has spent, that is just a snapshot of the money. He spent $50 million of taxpayer dollars to go after Amendment 3 and Amendment 4, which was the legalization of cannabis as well as reproductive health care, abortion rights. And he spent $50 million of our dollars to us voters. This guy is not a fiscal conservative. He wastes money. Remember that him taking all of those flights of the migrants from Texas to Martha's Vineyard, and then we've been sued on
stunts. Yeah,
he is just wasting so much money for stunts.
I picture Mickey Mouse just holding him upside down, and all Florida taxpayer money falling out of his pockets. Nope, I'm not done. You also you retweeted about almost everybody. Trump's transition team turns to Project 2025, top to bottom. Project 2025 people. And John Cooper said, "Wait, so you're telling me that Trump and Vance repeatedly lied to all of America during the campaign? I'm gobsmacked." Here we are, right where we were just talking about people just Googling what's a tariff, and somebody said, somebody tweeted, "I love how the headlines have changed now that the media realizes Americans have no idea how tariffs work. This would have been helpful a few weeks ago." I think you tweeted about the what's her name? Kelly Loeffler. Oh my God, Secretary of Agriculture. You said, oh my God.
We got spared there too. It ends up not being Kelly.
Yeah.
It's this other woman, Brooke.
Oh, okay.
Who also lost her congressional.
Right. But
I mean, she went to Texas A&M, and that was her qualifications to be Secretary of Agriculture. She went to Texas A&M and has a degree in agriculture or something like that.
Right. Well, it just, there's like, Kim tweeted, a reminder, the last time Trump declared a trade war on China using tariffs, Beijing stopped buying U.S. soybeans, the price crashed, the Trump administration had to spend billions subsidizing the U.S. soybean producers through handouts, or socialism if you prefer. I mean, it's all what we just have memory hold all the last time he tried these disastrous policies, right?
And if anybody knows, in the last 24 hours, he said that he was going to put a 25% tariff on Canada and on Mexico. First and foremost, that violates the USMCA, which was the old NAFTA. It's something that he spent 4 years negotiating with that trade agreement with Canada and Mexico. So that violates USMCA, which was NAFTA. Two, if anybody thinks that that is going to decrease the price of food in our country, they have lost their mind. You'll start seeing such an increase in cost of goods and in cost of food by just that one act of tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
Yeah. Weirdly, Tristan Snell, who successfully prosecuted Trump University in New York, so weird. I guess Pam Bondi just didn't have any of the same evidence, huh? He said, so Donald Trump wants to deport millions of immigrants and kill the H-2A visas for temporary farm workers. Then he wants to place a 25% tariff on all Mexican goods. When we import over $17 billion of food a year from Mexico, your grocery bill is going to triple under Trump. I mean, it is amazing how quickly the find out portion of the F around and find out plan is going, right?
Well, the reality is, it's so frustrating here. Here in the state of Florida, for your listeners to know, like, I was Commissioner of Agriculture. In 2018, I was the only statewide elected Democrat. And so I sat for 4 years in the cabinet with Ron DeSantis and talked about all of his immigration policies here in the state of Florida, wanting to, again, deport people and to remove people and to arrest people. When we've got 2 million people that work inside of agriculture inside the state of Florida, which is the second largest economic driver of our state, 1 million are undocumented. Do you know what's going to happen to the ag industry in the state of Florida? And those are H-2A workers and illegal immigrants. Yeah. On top of that, construction, number 3. We're going to be in a real economic crisis here in our state.
Yeah. Well, and one last one I want to throw at you. So Elon Musk tweeted, the price of fentanyl will rise sharply. And Joey tweeted, you can choose to believe Elon is too dumb to understand tariffs and or international negotiations work, or you can choose to believe he's a billionaire car company owner who benefits from tariffs on competitors' cars made in Mexico and Canada. Most of the fentanyl, as you know, comes from Americans going through. This is not, none of this makes any sense, does it?
None of it makes any sense, and none of it is built on reality. But we as, kind of the resistance movement, the other side of this conversation, have to do a better job, like we're doing now, talking about these things, debunking them, getting into the minds of all of those people that voted for Donald Trump for the price of eggs or the price of milk. Or more importantly, they thought, that the number one issue for Democrats were social issues. When I have gone through, as the head of the Democratic Party of Florida, friends all over the country, I don't know one candidate in one city, one county, one election that talked about social issues. Every Democrat talked about affordability of this country. And unfortunately, the Republicans branded us, and we've got to spend a lot of time, kind of unwinding, that those lies and that's misinformation.
Right. Defending trans people when, most people, I'm sure, don't even know a trans person. And yet you're right. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars fear-mongering about trans people. Nikki, how do we fight state by state? I was happy to see in my sister's home state of North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper just signed a veto, because they talk about whiny, sore losers. So they lost almost everything in North Carolina except for, Trump won, right? So now the Republicans immediately tried to pass a bill stripping power from all Democrats. So thank God for now, Governor Cooper was able to veto that. But, and out here, let me just tell you, in California, Gavin Newsom has announced that if Trump fulfills his pledge to end the federal EV tax credit, California will implement a rebate for non-Tesla electric cars to replace them. I mean, I think that's fantastic. That's a brilliant way to fight back.
Yeah, and that's exactly, Democrats are going to have to be gritty. They're going to have to be smart. They're going to have to be strategic, because that's what the Republicans have done. We didn't wake up one day and all of a sudden, like, the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025 is controlling this country. They have been methodical the last 30 years, building this foundation, building this ground game. And so it's going to be important for Democrats to be smart, to know that we've got the right policies on our side. We know how to fix the economy. We know how to produce good paying jobs. We know how to balance budgets. We know how to protect our people. We know how to create good paying jobs. So we're going to have to continue to be out there talking about the things that are important to the people, but be really smart and witty when we're doing so.
Well, like, what's your take? A lot of people have floated, when they've obviously already started threatening blue states, saying they're going to cut off federal funding if you don't help us with these, mass deportations and tearing families apart. Well, how does a blue state fight back? Because people have said, well, California is the fourth largest economy in the world. If we withhold our tax money, I'm not sure what's doable legally, but if they threaten us and cut off federal funding, obviously, as you know, the blue states, we fund all the taker red states, right? So,
yeah. Look, if you think about it, we're getting into a really dangerous time for our country, where we are going to be separating out our country into blue and red states. And I always just go back to Obama's, convention speech. We aren't red states, we aren't blue states, we're the United States of America. And what Donald Trump and the MAGA extremism is trying to do is actually divide us. So the governors that are governing blue states, and even, those that are in bluer states, are going to have to come together to figure out ways to protect their citizens, to protect their people, to pass policies that are going to be, helpful and showing, how a red state and a blue state operates. Florida right now is the most unaffordable state in the nation. Our property insurance has increased 400% under Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Because they have just let
insurance. It's impossible to insure your house in Florida.
Impossible.
Yeah.
So not only is property insurance number one, you've got an affordability on housing crisis, because we've been gutting the Affordable Trust Fund, housing trust fund, for the last 30 years of Republican governor control. So we have a housing shortage.
Yeah.
So all of these things are starting to compound. And now we're going to get rid of ASEA, and if we're not going to expand Medicaid, we're going to be in a situation that you can tell that the health of a country and a state by the health of its citizens. And we're going to be in a situation, especially if RFK gets any of his way, we're at a time when people are going to have to go to blue states to have access to general health care.
Yeah.
It's going to really be an imbalance.
That'll be that's an out-of-the-box message, is heroin helps you study, kids.
Yeah.
I saw that today too.
Okay. when you said Obama and we're the United States, I was like, but are we? Like that caller to C-SPAN just said, you Democrats get. Okay. Well, so I'll be here, I don't know, getting a nose ring. What else, Chris? Shaving my head. I got stuff to do, Nikki. I gotta go.
Tubes.
I think we can do a really good fundraiser together. We can do a fundraiser of people paying us to shave our heads, right?
There you go. Nikki Fried, Democratic chair of the party there in Florida. Please come back and see us. It's so nice to meet you finally.
Nice meeting you too. Anytime. We're here. We're holding the line here.
There she goes.
Awesome.
There she goes. Come on, let's make Florida great again. We can do it.
Thanks,
okay.
Nikki.
21 minutes. Hello, Lucretia in Milwaukee. Hello.
Why, buenos dias. And first, before I forget, happy Thanksgiving to you all. Especially to Grandpa Beanie Boy over there. Looking good, soldier.
Thank you.
To those, I just want to say, who are still feeling the hurt and the sadness of the election, like I said, I've been through it. I even seek medical. I've seen that doctor to help go through this because it is tough. And thanks to the medication I'm on, I'm getting better. But for those who need like a pick me up, first of all, you can go to my TikTok page. It is Cretia, C as in Charlie, R-I, S as in salami, H as in ham, A as in apple. At Lou, that's who. And I've even created a TikTok about those who don't understand tariffs. But people, look at some FAFO videos. It don't matter if it's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. I'm telling you, and this is no lie and no joke. Those videos is besides my medication has helped me out.
Oh, dog videos are my lifeline. That, and now I'm currently watching Madam Secretary and living in a different world with Tia Leone.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm living in an alternate universe where.
Didn't you watch it the first time it aired?
I watched a little bit, but I didn't. But now I'm just
It's good.
balls deep.
It's good.
Into season 3.
You'll see Eric Stoltz.
I know, who I went to USC drama with. Oh my God, he's dreamy.
He's on a show and you're not.
No, well.
He also directed the show.
And he's a producer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Huh.
He's done well
and
for
I'm
himself.
here. Hi, Karen in Chicago.
Hi. I am up against it, so I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
You too.
However you celebrate, with whomever you celebrate, I will not be celebrating with any Republican voting relatives, so I'm very grateful for that. I do want to say I think something we're missing, that there are a lot of Americans that take this country for granted, take a representative government for granted, don't understand that it is incremental change. And so I remember taking an Uber ride, and the young man said to me, maybe we need a king. He and his girlfriend just got back from a trip to Dubai, and it's so clean and crime free, and maybe we need somebody to just, take care of all of it.
Yep.
So I think that this is something that we don't understand, and a lot of people are going to find out.
Yep.
You cannot petition your government in a dictatorship. You cannot protest in a dictatorship. Love you guys.
Exactly. But you can call the Stephanie Miller Show. Malcolm Nance next.
exposed more people to sickness and death. On the other hand, he's at top of a giant bureaucracy where he doesn't have a lot of discretionary authority. Tulsi Gabbard, just by opening her mouth, can betray secrets to one of the many dictators she is very friendly with, suspiciously friendly with. She's very dangerous.
Thank you. David Frum went on to say,
I think Hegseth's role would be this. The big surprise for Donald Trump about the military when he arrived in office was he thought, hey, I'm a big violent bully. Generals are big violent bullies. Generals will like me. And then he was astonished to discover that actually the senior ranks of the American military are full of people who realize allies are an asset, not a liability. They've lived abroad. They often speak foreign languages. They are highly sophisticated about America's interests in the world. And he did not find allies among the 4 stars and the 3 stars. So one of the things that if he has it to do all over again, you might imagine that Donald Trump would want to do is start hunting among the colonels and the 1 stars for MAGA types he can promote to 3-star and 4-star authority.
oh, dear God. Okay. By the way, this would be today's headline in awfulness. Trump picks John Phelan to lead the Navy despite no military experience of any kind.
None.
If only there was some
Put on your big boy pants.
Oh, hiya. Hiya, Malcolm. Hi.
Hi. 2 glorious weeks in the Egyptian desert, all about to be spoiled by your next 15 minutes.
Oh, boy.
You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, nothing is a shock at this point. So this guy has no military experience of any kind. But he is a businessman and an art collector, so that qualifies him to run the entire Navy, apparently.
Oh, my God. Well, this is par for the course for Team Trump. Yeah. I think a lot of these are just, pretty obviously patronage rewards. Mm-hmm. And the best part is how no one is going to listen to him. He thinks that he's going to go out and procure multi-billion-dollar aircraft carriers. And like everybody else who gets on Team Trump, you know what he's going to do. He's going to attempt to steal contract money by routing money to his friends and other donors. And unfortunately for them, the Pentagon is bureaucratic enough for the last, 75 years to foil anybody who thinks you're going to game that system. If the money's too big, the system is too complex. The worst thing you could do is assist the Chinese by slowing down our shipbuilding.
Yeah. So the other, by the way, so he also tapped Dr. Somebody, a vocal critic of COVID lockdowns, as the director of National Institute of Health. So I don't know. Did you hear this? Let me just our new. Hang on a second. What's Director of Health and Human Services? Bobby Kennedy. Here we go.
And I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly, I could sit still and I could read.
Well, there's a new message for the kids, right, Malcolm?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do heroin, not vaccines. And that heroin is good. I just can't wait to see how many university students. I mean, Rolling Stone had a huge article about this, about how he was also a dealer in university. I mean, this is just utterly amazing. And he's bragging about it. That's the most amazing part.
He apparently said he started taking LSD when he was 15, moved on to heroin and cocaine. So this is a guy that says vaccines are not good for you. Also, isn't he against...
But drugs are.
Right. He said, I probably would have been diagnosed as having ADHD. Isn't he against any of those medications that help? Okay. So his advice would be heroin? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, heroin. Why not? I'm writing this big Substack article on the methodologies that people need to use for resistance. And one of the things is that, we have those iconic posters of Obama with hope and Biden and, Kamala, that somebody needs to do one of Kennedy and Trump. And Kennedy should be doper, right? Yeah. Or brainworms. And, and somehow 1 million of these should find their way all over the United States, just like those Obey posters, all over MAGA land, so that when their children start dying of his stupid decisions and the ridiculous decision of bringing him on at all. Look, this is one massive troll to fulfill campaign promises, to hurt the liberals, to make the liberals feel bad, and so to exercise power by Trump by making his enemies bend at the knee. And what did this guy do? He comes in, he's eating Big Macs, right?
Yeah.
This is a guy who, by the way, is self-admittedly on steroids.
Yeah.
So, what more can you say? He is a giant troll. Will he get confirmed? Who knows? But, our...
Oops. Uh-oh. Malcolm. Well, anyway, if he can hear me, maybe he'll come back. But yeah, just speaking of which, Elon Musk, in 3 hours last night, he posted over 125 times, and he's still at it. We're seeing the total derangement of a personality based on social media addiction, snorting ketamine and tweeting all hours of the day and night, according to his former friend that you retweeted, Malcolm.
Oh, Jesus. I swear to God. All right. Everybody who is listening to the sound of my voice, here are your orders for dealing with X. I think I've said this once before. Do not delete your X account. Don't. Hold it, put it on mute so that people can't make comments, and leave it. Go to Blue Sky.
Right.
Open a Blue Sky account. It's awesome over there. People are nice. It has good moderation.
Done it. I'm on Threads. I'm on Blue Sky.
And then, at a particular moment in January, all of us will delete our X accounts.
All right.
And that will smash that thing. They need us there for engagement. They need us there to insult. They need us there because it's now Truth Social being led by Elon Musk. And he's the lead nut on that thing. And he's harnessing anger and violence and threats between the right-wingers he allowed on and the liberals who remain on there. Do not engage with him.
Right.
Just neutralize your X, and at the right time, when 20 or 30 million of us disappear simultaneously, perhaps he will get the message.
Yep. So you probably saw this, the Ukrainian boxing legend. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. What?
Klitschko's amazing.
That guy. Yeah. So he called out Joe Rogan for pushing Russian propaganda by accusing U.S. and Ukrainian leaders of risking World War III after President Biden authorized Ukraine's use of long-range missiles. Take a listen. Hang on.
Joe Rogan, I listened to your latest podcast. I'm sending you this video to let you know that I disagree. You talk about these American weapons being sent to Ukraine, which you believe will lead to the Third World War. So, let me tell you that you're repeating Russian propaganda. Putin's Russia is in trouble, so they want to scare you and people like you. His war was supposed to last 3 days. It has lasted 3 years, thanks to the heroism and sacrifice of us Ukrainians.
Yeah, went on to say, real quick. Yeah, hang on.
So you're using the only weapon that Putin really intends to use, propaganda. And this weapon really weakens our democracies. Putin's Russia wants to destroy Ukraine quietly. They want America to stay quiet. Not great, but quiet. A great America is not an America that abandons countries that defend freedom with their lives. In short, you see, I have quite a few points of difference. If you invite me on your podcast, we could discuss them like free men.
Yeah. I mean, Malcolm.
Heck no. I don't want to invite it on his podcast. I want to see 3 rounds of those two. And no holds barred. First off, met Klitschko last year. He's huge. That guy is like 6'8". He is Ivan Drago, only nice. And
if he dies.
He's the nicest person you'll ever meet. He gives hugs. I mean, but he will beat you senseless. So I think that they should have a healthy debate in the form of, the Queen Anne rules.
Yeah. I just want to hear him say, if he dies, he dies. Like Drago, right? Yeah.
I would pay for that.
So, by the way, you retweeted someone who said if Trump lost in 2020 and got to run again, there's no reason Harris shouldn't be allowed to run again. She ran an amazing campaign in 107 days. Agreed. I am not ready to give in to racism and misogyny in this country, Malcolm. I'm not ready to just, And how many other men can we say have lost and run again, right?
It's a Democrat thing. Okay, we're all over our shock now. We're in the past the denial phase. It's time for us all to grow up and really be introspective about this. And I don't mean me getting lectured by white guys about how we lost the white male neo-Nazi vote, and that's why we lost this election. Somehow, 7 million Democrats did not show up to this election. It was 81 million in 2020. It's supposedly 74 million right now that showed up. We need to be more introspective and understand that the two major factors that drove this election were not economics. It was racism and misogyny. Thank you. And misogyny first. Apparently, people just do not like women in America, to the point where they would vote to take away all of your rights, vote against a woman who is offering them everything that they want. So now we are entering in the FAFO stage of what it's like to be ruled by incompetent, racist, sexist, neo-Nazi, fascist, loving, white guys who are going to destroy this country. They're already damaging the economy. And people are saying, well, that's why we voted. No, it's not. Let's be honest. You voted because you hate women and you hate minorities. Well, and that's, those are the two groups that actually voted.
And by the way, let me run this story by you, because this is what we're going to be dealing with now. They are emboldened. There is no question about it. A Nebraska grade schooler in Nebraska has experienced repeated racist attacks from another student, but his parents are unable to get the bully dealt with. A third grader at Falling Waters Elementary School said the other boy asked him to spell the N-word and told him that's what you are. He said his tormentors allegedly kneed him twice in the groin and called him a racial slur. So the bullies are now forcing little black kids to write the N-word. I mean,
this is the least of what you're going to see. I warned about this in 2020. I said, if they win, these people will see themselves as the self-appointed enforcers of Trump's will. That is coming. That is coming. What that child experienced was just a reflection of what's being said in the House. The N-word, they want full use of that. They want to see themselves as the people who can actually come out and do what they want. They will enforce Trump's will. This will lead to death. This will lead to bloodshed. And they don't have a problem with it because, as I see all the time, their commentary about how they have all the guns. It's only going to get worse after January 20th, which is why we need to start using the tools and methodologies of the French occupation, occupation of France in World War II, which is start being absent. Yep. Do not engage in active protest. They want that. They want the opportunity to shoot people. They want Antifa out there burning things so that they could pass laws or do acts which will take our rights away forever. We are entering a solid George Washington Warren tyranny of Mad King Donald the First.
So in the adult bully stack, the headline is Donald Trump Jr. Donald Trump Jr. talks castration of MSNBC host with Elon Musk and Joe Rogan. He bantered with John Jr. bantered with Elon Musk and Joe Rogan over which MSNBC shows they would host if Musk ends up buying the network. I don't think he's buying the network. I think
he's not going to.
He's trolling you.
Right. Trump said, "Oh, okay, Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, since this is getting interesting, I'll throw my hat in the ring as well. I'll mimic Lawrence O'Donnell, minus the castration, of course. That's a bridge too far." Rogan said, "If you buy MSNBC, I'd like Rachel Maddow's job. I'll wear the same outfit and glasses, and I'll tell the same lies." I'm
glad he's for trans rights.
Malcolm, we talked earlier the story about, there's obviously been a huge reaction to Joe and Mika going, and kissing Donald Trump's ass. They literally, I've never seen that happen in my years in media. In literally less than a week, they lost 40% of their audience. And also because of their reaction to it, of, them basically like calling their viewers idiots. Like, all my rich friends calling me say it's great. It's only social media that feels that way. When it's clearly not. They need to bring Malcolm Nance back. But I think there are a lot of, as great talent at MSNBC that are not going to bend the knee and kiss the ring of Donald Trump. So I urge people to support that. But it's
all right. Well, let me burst a little bit of your bubble here. There's a reason I'm not back at MSNBC. They had been shifting to Fox Light in 2021, and it was only the run-up to the election, the Ukraine war, that they shifted back left based on audience demand. I suspect that they may decide that it is more profitable to try what CNN tried under Licht, which is to bring on another Megyn Kelly or another Gretchen Carlson. I mean, they had to pay Megyn Kelly out $76 million when they broke her contract.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is like a decade of Rachel Maddow's salary. But right now, what we have news media that is complying in advance.
Yeah.
And they are giving into the whim of the dictator.
But, my point is, only Joe and Mika, a lot of their other talent, are not bending the knee to Trump, and their ratings are much better. Lawrence O'Donnell had the highest ratings on the channel. So I think there is go ahead.
I don't have any insider information. I haven't been a contributor at MSNBC for going on 3 years now. But I do know the mindset that is at the headshed, that's up at the leadership level. And if they saw profit, look, Joe and Mika would had to have had permission from the CEO to go to that. That's not something you just do. It's thought through, and it was a calculated move.
Well, they didn't think it through very well, because it's backfired on them enormously.
Well, it's 40. They've lost 40% of their total viewership, not just Morning Joe.
Right, but their Morning Joe is down more than all of the rest of them. They're at an all-time low. So my point is
Fox is at an all-time high again.
Oh, no, I know.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I think part of it is obviously depression and exhaustion that clearly, you're going to feel on the Democratic side, and they're feeling, what's the word? Triumphant over on the right. So they want to. So I think some of that is cyclical. But I'm just saying we need progressive warriors out there like you more than ever. And I love you, and I'm thankful for you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And we went long as usual. Goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Goodbye. Oh, hi. How are you, Rude?
Hello. I was just noticing that I think Cliff Schechter and I have the same hairstyle now.
All the alpha liberal men. You go to the same barber.
I was going to say, all of us pissed off liberals. This is men. This is the hairstyle we have to have.
You're like, this election, I'm just going to hack this hair off now.
Yeah.
This is why Chris wears a beanie now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it. I don't know. The backwards baseball cap. I don't know.
Douche bro. Douche bro. What? No. Rudeness. We played Nancy Mace just for you, because we give and we give. Because you wrote a really interesting piece, and we have Charlotte Clymer booked coming up. But this is in all this post-election analysis. I mean, we've always had the same through line on this show about alpha liberals, about we need to learn how to fight either differently, better, or something. And you just write, it wasn't that long ago, less than 10 years, in fact, we're a confirmation hearing for Attorney General Loretta Lynch, Senator Lindsey Graham, who was before his mouth became Donald Trump's koozie.
Oh.
That is rude.
Goodness.
You weren't even warmed up yet, and there's rudeness.
I know. And it's a little wrong there, because a koozie generally keeps things cool, but in this case, it'll keep it warm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Wailed and gnashed about the growing passage of laws in the states allowing same-sex couples to marry. And you said his screaming Mimi routine had been echoing throughout the nutosphere for years. Same-sex marriage would lead to legalizing marriage with animals or marriage with babies. And you said, of course, none of this came true. No one tried to get a law passed so they could marry their dog. Babies are still single. See, now I feel better, because, like me, not like Alao Menendez.
Right. He's doing very well.
Yeah. Baby's the only ones that have your love lives than I do. Rude. My point is,
maybe you need to go to prison. Maybe that's really the secret.
Yes.
There.
Oh, I can think of some reasons it might be worth it. Okay.
Wow.
It's just a side. The side strange is just. It's just another benefit.
I think what you're thinking of will get you into a level of prison where there is no strange whatsoever.
Can you be arrested for what's in your thought bubble? What's in there?
Ooh. Not yet, but pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
Once Elon implants the chips into us.
But, you raise a great point. Just these culture war issues or, whatever. That I hate to say it, but it worked. Like the despicable way they do this, she didn't bring up trans. They brought it up to try to otherize people, because I have to be honest, Rude, I've told this story before, but, I grew up in a tiny little small town Catholic school. I didn't know any trans people. I remember when one came to speak at my freshman college class, I was like, like it broke my brain. And I didn't think, I want to discriminate against this person or not like them. It just was so outside my, my experience. But this is the thing. I bet you hardly anyone knows a trans person that they spent these, as you say, millions of dollars of ads, right, to fearmonger about.
Over $200 million worth of ads in this cycle from the GOP on anti-trans issues. For something, it's something, as I point out, for things like saying that we don't want trans girls in girls' sports in high school, and it's like, yeah, more trans women are murdered every year than there are trans girls in girls' sports.
Yeah, we've said it over and over. In some of the states they did this, there was one girl in the entire state. I mean, but as you say. when Jake Tapper and Dana Bash moderated a presidential debate and didn't think it was worth asking about a judge calling Trump a rapist? The media surrender started a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
To our point about Joe and Mika. Blah. John Pavlovitz, our friend, said it's so weird seeing people who claim to love America celebrating an incoming president who has committed high crimes against it as if his avoiding legal accountability is a win for them. That's how you know it's a cult. Thank you. Exactly. And real quick, Dean Obadala says, wow, the president of Mexico destroys Trump's claims about Mexico. 70% of the illegal weapons seized from criminals in Mexico come from your country. We do not produce these weapons, nor do we consume synthetic drugs. Tragically, it is in our country that lives are lost to the violence resulting from meeting the drug demand in yours. Wow. I mean, no lies detected. 58 minutes after the hour, Coffee with Carlos.
Oh, hi. Come, walk with me. I kind of want to talk about the least of my people. You know, every year around this time, I always got to try real hard to not smack upside the head all these hypocrites, snakes, and vipers who call undocumented U.S. workers illegals. I don't like getting angry, but this shit makes me want to flip a table. Illegals is a racist, dehumanizing, otherizing term. It's designed to make other people appear less than human, so you won't feel bad when you treat them inhumanely. It's a really shitty noun. Ask yourself this: when's the last time Fox News called any other kind of lawbreaker an illegal? If you do 56 in a 55 zone, aren't you an illegal too? Huh? Come on. Now, you wouldn't know it from watching Tucker, but the majority of undocumented immigrants in this country are people who overstayed their visas. However, every night on Fox, he who tucks in his brood of vipers say illegals, and they're always referring to brown people crossing a border. Here's a dirty secret. Politicians could end undocumented immigration tomorrow if they wanted by locking up the white people who do all the hiring. This is supply and demand economics, my friends. There's a gigantic help wanted sign at our southern border, and there's no wall you can ever build that'll be big enough to hide it. And politicians of both parties are in no rush to take down the help wanted sign. Rich people pay Fox people to make working people blame poor people. Now here's 10 facts about illegal people. Number 1. Undocumented immigrants commit crimes at a much lower rate than U.S.-born citizens. Why? Fear of deportation. So imagine if we could do that to homegrown criminals. Number 2, undocumented immigrants pay state, local, and sales tax over $400 billion in 2017 alone. Those guys standing outside Home Depot looking for day labor work, they're not the ones who outsource your job to China. By the way, racist idiots, there are no national politicians currently calling for open borders or amnesty. Anyone who tells you there are is lying, or as I like to call it, bearing false witness. You know who did call for that? Ronald Reagan. That's right, the star of all your right-wing porn fantasies. St. Ronnie gave amnesty to millions of undocumented people and claimed that open borders allows them to just go home when they're done working here. But don't feel bad, you racist douchebags. Reagan still supported apartheid. You ever notice whenever they raid one of these meatpacking plants down south and they arrest several hundred illegal workers, they're a lot slower to arrest the guys in the back room who did the hiring, who are counting all the cash. And that is all the proof you need to know that the illegal immigration scare is regressive gaslighting bullshit. Donald Trump hires undocumented labor. Going back to the 80s, it was Polish workers who built Trump Tower, but they never got called illegals because they're white. Even as president, Trump continued to employ undocumented workers. He's now done it in 2 different centuries, all to avoid paying American workers a living wage. You are being suckered by millionaire at birth hypocrites. Does it physically hurt to be this freaking gullible? Oh, let's talk about the wall. You morons understand that they were never actually going to build a physical medieval wall for thousands of miles stretching across deserts and rivers and forests and private and commercial properties and seizing land from American citizens using eminent domain law, right? You understand that was a scam? It wasn't going to get finished. Mexico was never going to pay for it. And even if they had, twits, ladders and shovels are things. They looted the military for a scam. Steve Bannon was ripping people off and Trump pardoned him for it, and they are both now wagging their tiny junk at you. And that's not a pretty sight. The majority of American voters rejected Donald Trump's immigration agenda in 2016. The majority rejected it again in 2020, but he still has a chance to be the first man to lose the popular vote 3 times. I alone can do it. What a dick. So remember, MAGA dudes, one of these days, you're going to stand before St. Peter. And on that day, you will discover what extreme vetting really fucking means. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and forgive me. I should have said at the top of the video, I'm only dressed in the tunic because it's laundry day, and I had nothing else to wear. Oh, and I'm only wearing the fake beard to hide my rosacea, so that's... Oh, you thought I was trying to look like him? Dude, I look nothing like him. I'm white.
happiest place on earth on Sunday, just to wash away all my fears. And then I come back, and a few days later, I'm like the cowardly lion in Wizard of Oz. Let me know when it's over. I can't look. Let me know when it's over.
The best place to go after all of this is Disneyland, because the real world doesn't intrude.
He went on a roller coaster at Disneyland. Yeah, I love Scott tweeted, due to recent cutbacks, the light at the end of the tunnel has been shut off.
Yeah.
There's no humor too dark right now.
Yep.
Right. Someone else tweeted, you know what's really depressing? Our 4-year sentence hasn't even started yet. It hasn't even started yet. It's only 3 weeks. Jody, 3 weeks ago.
I know.
It's fantastic.
I'm going to have somebody tell me how bad his inaugural speech is going to be.
Oh, yeah. I'm not watching that.
I can't watch.
No.
I cannot watch it.
And here's one for you. I saved, I guess, the quote for you. I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly, I could sit still and I could read. Who said that?
Oh,
Cat
Jimmy
Dog.
Carter.
No, that would be our new Director of Health and Human Services, Bobby Kennedy, said that. Oh, do we have it? Yeah,
We
sure.
do. It's 13.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, here he is.
And I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly, I could sit still and I could read.
Oh, wow.
There's a new message for the kids. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You tweeted about New Brunswick measles outbreak spreads to 44 people, mostly unvaccinated children.
Yeah.
Get your face up in it, America.
Yeah, it turns out that you don't have to convince smart people. You just have to fool less smart people to win an election.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to celebrate education. You just have to manipulate those who are not.
Our friend Joe from Jers tweeted, so hold the on. So a whole bunch of Trump voters with pre-existing conditions are now realizing they voted to take their health care away, and a whole bunch of contractors are now realizing they voted to take their construction workers away, and a whole bunch of farmers are now realizing they voted to take their farm workers away. This was not, Carlos, this isn't even about education. It's just basic critical thinking skills. He told you all this. He's like this was hidden, right?
Yes. And again, none of this was about the price of eggs, as I tweeted about going to Disneyland and seeing a jam-packed park.
80 million people are traveling. The most in American history are traveling over Thanksgiving.
Yes. While it might be tough for some, this was never, this is false. This was never about the Middle East. This was never about the price of eggs. This was about false information, a billionaire buying a platform so that it could pump in false information to scare uneducated white folks and some Latinos and some black folks that are afraid of female power.
Yeah. You tweeted telling that Rogan was not willing to travel to interview a standing vice president and presidential candidate, yet the other, Joe and Mika, did please don't hurt me crawl over to Florida, normalizing Trump as weakness, zero respect given to either. We've been talking all morning, Carlos, about so this is interesting. Yashar Ali tweeted 73% of the overall cable news audience is watching Fox News. MSNBC is getting 16%. CNN's getting 11%. These numbers are in the aftermath of the election, not pre-election. We were saying that Joe and Mika's has been the steepest. They lost literally in 3 days 40% of their viewers. Because
it doesn't mean that you have to turn to something that's worse or more abhorrent. You might be defeated and say, gosh, they're not speaking to me anymore, and they disappointed me, but I don't see that as a genuine turn to Fox News. But yeah, hopefully the Stephanie Miller Show and shows like yours are the void that you can jump into now, or we're formerly.
We have welcomed all of Morning Joe's former
yeah
viewers, basically. But, so we were talking about that Elon Musk was clearly trolling about buying MSNBC. He's called it the utter scum of the earth. He has called the channel that peddles propaganda. Did he say that on Fox News?
Yes, he did.
Right. Yeah.
And he said MSNBC's going down, started posting memes about buying the channel. So, obviously, as everybody's saying, he's joking to troll the libs. But contrary to claims that, I'm just reading from a media piece, contrary to claims that Trump's allies are posting on X, Comcast has not put a for sale sign on MSNBC's doors. If the Comcast chief really wanted to sell the liberal news channel, he could have done that already. Instead, he's moving MSNBC and a half dozen other cable channels to SpinCo, a pure play cable programming company. The hope is that spinning off the pressured but profitable channels will boost shares of both Comcast and SpinCo. This is kind of inside baseball, but it's Comcast Vasquez, the transaction will take about a year. Could someone swoop in with a bid for MSNBC? It's complicated. So, SpinCo executives may well conclude that offloading MSNBC is not in the best interest of shareholders, since the channel's loyal audience is a form of leverage in negotiations with cable distributors. Selling MSNBC to win favor with the president-elect is simply not the plan. I've sensed quite a bit of enthusiasm at MSNBC about SpinCo, actually, because the new structure would allow for more investment into MSNBC, CNBC, and the other brands, yada, yada. Yeah. My point, Carlos, that we've been saying is replace Joe and Mika, right?
Yeah.
You can't, we know this, Chris, right? As a morning show,
Yeah.
you either lift or pull down the entire network.
That's right.
We were the highest rated show on current TV. We don't
somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but we were.
Whatever. But
Smart jokes.
Yeah, but no, we were saying there are a lot of great talent at MSNBC, including on the weekends, that do not bend the knee to Trump. We just had a bunch of programming, suggestions now. But, even we were saying Michael Steele, that whole weekend show, he's a Republican. He hasn't switched parties, and he is not bending the knee to
Joe
Trump,
Walsh.
I tell you. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Joe Walsh is another,
If you feel like you need balance or whatever, but we gave what, 4 or 5 fantastic programming solutions for mornings at
Yes, we
MSNBC.
did.
Yeah.
Did anybody confront Joe and Mika? And did they sit down with an interviewer, like a Pierce Morgan type, to say, why did you bend a knee?
They did. Mika did a podcast. It just made it worse. Like, first of all, Joe Scarborough made it worse. He goes, we saw the disconnect between the, real world and social media, that all my friends called and said it was great. It's only, like a few cranks on social media. It's like, no, it's like half your audience.
Yeah. It's kind of like Chris Rock going like, hey, let me buy you a burger after Will Smith smacked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I take you out to breakfast?
No, it was his smugness that then, because I tuned in to say, like, okay, if they legitimately said, wow, this was obviously a mistake, and we were scared. We were scared of getting, whatever, if they were real about it. But it's just,
So Joe Rogan wouldn't sit with a vice president, but you, like I said, you would travel over to Mara Skanko to visit him? What are you doing? What?
Yeah.
Who?
It's exactly the wrong message. We're all scared, Carlos, but that's exactly the wrong message to send, is for people to cower. Do not cower, right?
This is what we need: the artists, we need the musicians, we need the painters, we need the comics, we need the Mark Marons of the world to say, no, man, what are you doing? And Klitschko coming forward and saying, Joe Rogan, you're just spewing.
Russian
Let
dissidents.
me come on your show.
Russian dissidents are telling us this is how, Putin happened. We got complacent. We thought, this is not the time. And I get people are tired. It's the holidays, like rest, recharge, do whatever. Go on your roller coaster. Go on your small world, Carlos, whatever. But then come back and get in the fight, because it's our country too.
Well, if you do, as I had reported that Sport the Sports, Colin Cowherd was saying the same thing I was saying about Disneyland being full. He goes, I look around me, restaurants are doing well, they're full, flights are full, these are normal people, amusement parks are full. So that's the real evidence. Don't believe what you hear from the misinformation king, Elon Musk, that things are so bad and this is no. Just go out and see people are living their lives. Yeah, there's inflation all over the world and prices have gone up, but they're not sitting at home doing nothing. Yeah. People are living. And the Democrats are trying to make it better. They're not going to impose tariffs, which are going to make it worse.
It was a worldwide throw the bums out, throw the incumbents out. But we did better than any other country on inflation. And if we were just saying, so, obviously Biden announced the deal between, the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. This one, the White House reporting 3 Americans who are being held in China are coming home after a deal with President Biden's administration. I'm telling you, he will go down as being one of the most successful presidents domestically and on foreign policy ever.
Especially with what he had to deal with, and starting with the fact that Trump left a vacuum by negotiating with the Taliban in Afghanistan. He had to deal. He probably was too hasty. He probably acted with impatience on that move, but he did get us out of the war.
In what? Wait. I'm sorry, Afghanistan?
But by comparison to Trump's numbers,
wait, are you talking?
Minuscule.
Go back. Were you talking about Afghanistan?
Yeah, he was dealt a hand by Trump.
That's what I mean. That was Trump's withdrawal plan. He's going to.
Yeah,
I mean, so now he's going to court-martial the people that carried out the Trump plan. He's the one that cut the Afghan government out and negotiated with the Taliban.
Yes.
Joe Biden got us out of America's longest war with the most successful evacuation we've ever seen.
There was never gonna be
again,
a
the
smooth
mainstream
exit.
media, because they showed the few people jumping on planes, over and over and over, they fed the right wing talking about the point that, this was such a mess,
Well, I remember David Axelrod saying maybe he was a little bit too impatient with the exit, but...
David Axelrod can suck my...
Well, in defense of that, I don't think there was ever going to be a good exit after the Afghan government wasn't involved. There was no way.
It wasn't going to be like leaving Montauk or Nantucket on the ferry.
Biden administration didn't abandon the Kurds, which helped us in the war. So, Biden, under the circumstances that he had to take office with COVID, with post-COVID, with the debacle that was the handling of COVID, with Afghanistan, with I believe Netanyahu and Putin going, don't worry, Trump, we're going to start a couple wars for you. We're going to make it bad so that you will win this election.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, Biden had to deal with so much. The Democrats had to deal with so much.
I mean, if he makes
Not to mention misinformation, racism, white fear. This is how he lost. White fear. You are being replaced. You will be marginalized. You will no longer be the majority. That was the core of what scared people to the pool.
It's brown people taking your housing and making stuff more expensive and taking all your stuff and your hurricane aid.
Which is why I tweeted, the AI robots that freaking Musk is building are stealing your jobs and eating your cats and dogs. It's okay. They're robots. They're white.
All right, 20 minutes after the hour. Off to a raucous Coffee with Carlo. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Rocky tweets, "You're not the boss of me," I say, as I let the dog in and out 17 times in a row. That's me. The most frequent conversation at my house is, "Oh, you just went out."
But you have a dog door.
I have to go again.
You have a dog door.
I know, but when it's been at night in bed, when the bedroom door is shut, I gotta go down. Right, far away, dog?
Correct.
Bonnie and Clyde are getting groomed right now. We want to say happy Thanksgiving, and so how thankful we are to our whole Stephanie Miller Show family. Dawn, Blue Dot in Wyoming. Be it, by the way, reach out to your Blue Dot friends in red, because people are scared and they're, surrounded by Trumpers. To my morning peeps, thank you for making the increasingly cold mornings in Wyoming a bit warmer. You make me laugh and have hope that we can still overcome the hate and ugliness in this country. Dawn in Casper, Wyoming. I was just telling Malcolm Carlos's story about people being emboldened by Trump and his racism and misogyny, and about a little grade school boy that's being bullied, that his bully made him write the N-word and say, "That's what you are." And, just they feeling emboldened to call, people by the N-word, etc., whatever it is. And it's just, that's the, the battles we're also going to be fighting day by day, is just being surrounded by this hate and ugliness.
Yeah, I saw a couple of young teens. I saw one MAGA hat at Disneyland. I saw one young teen in this America, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this kid, it's learned behavior. And it is. It's all the Joe Rogan stuff. It's all the taking ice bath stuff, workout. Women are objects for your pleasure. It's just gross.
Yeah.
Men are so fragile right now.
Yeah. Kim wrote, "Hey, Steph, I went straight to Dead Inside Angry and haven't left. Haven't cried, probably won't. Yours is the only show I'll watch now." I sent a tweet about a friend whose trans grandchild committed suicide right after the election. Take care of yourself in this upside down up time. And then, Steph, what can we do to help you through this? Oh, just stay with me, Kim.
Buy our stuff.
But I keep, buy our stuff. But also, Carlos, we were saying, in honor of Kamala, ask who you can lift up, not who you can beat down, because a lot of people are going to need, and that's all we can do right now is person by person, lift someone up that's having a tough time. It's really scared in all this,
Yeah, and focus on that. Focus on the future and going forward. Don't relitigate the past of, we could have won if this person was a candidate. We should have
I'm
done
done
this.
with coulda, shoulda, woulda.
No, we're done. Again, there's nothing that was going to fight the force that was misinformation and fear.
Thank you.
And being backed by gajillionaires, several of them, 2 of them South African.
Yeah.
Illegals.
Nelson in Florida, real quick. Hey, Nelson, you're on with Carlos.
Hey, Stephanie, thanks for taking my call. I love your show. Stephanie, you're right. We do have to fight back. It's no more coulda, woulda, shoulda. Joe Biden has prosecutorial immunity, does he not?
Oh, that's true. I'd like to see some Dark Brandon stuff, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's too much of a nice guy, too much of an institutionalist, but damn, I have a Dark Brandon list for Christmas. Some stuff I would like done. 29. What's yours? 29 minutes after the hour. More coffee with Carlos.
have some good news to report from the Middle East. We just spoke with the Prime Minister of Israel and Lebanon.
14.
The reality is, I have no cash. It's all tied up. So right now, if I wanted to call a taxi cab, I can't do it.
Oh, no.
I don't have a credit card. I don't have a checking account. I have no place I can go take cash out except a little bit that I saved, and it's getting down to almost nothing. I have a business. I can do business expenses, but I'm very careful about that because God forbid I should make a mistake between a personal and a business expense. Unlike Hunter Biden, I go to jail right away.
Oh, it's despicable.
He is
Poor Rudy.
so butthurt about Hunter Biden.
He really is. Oh, poor Rudy. Rudy's. Here's an idea. Don't lie about the election and about election workers and defame them. Then you won't. Then you could.
He destroyed their lives.
Oh my God. I love that the judge also rejected his request to delay the trial so he can go to Trump's inauguration parties. They said the defendant's social calendar does not constitute due cause. I mean, Carlos, that's the only thing. Like, all of these people are not going to get the same pass, the same immunity that Trump got.
No, they never were. And again, this is what Michael Cohen warned about. He's just going to use you and toss you under the bus, just like wives, women, people.
Yeah. By the way, Sean P. Diddy Combs is borrowing from the playbook of Donald Trump in his latest attempt to secure bail, citing First Amendment protections to counter allegations. He's been trying to influence his upcoming sex trafficking trial.
Same ilk, man. Just gross.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. By the way, this is Canada's top military commander.
After 39 years of career as a combat arms officer and risking my life in many operations across the world, I can't believe that in 2024, we still have to justify the contribution of women to their defense and to their service in their country. And all the women sitting here in uniform, stepping in and deciding to get into harm's way and fight for their country need to be recognized for doing so. So again, and that, folks, is the distraction, not the women themselves. So again, just wanted to be clear.
So here we are. We have a Secretary of Defense candidate who is a rapist, allegedly, who will not allow women to serve.
He doesn't want to be tempted.
Yeah. And tell me misogyny was no part of this whole election. Here is David Frum on...
And that's where a Secretary of Defense, a like-minded one, can be very helpful. Hegseth does not have to be an administrative genius. He doesn't have to be even ordinarily smart to be able to figure out which of the colonels and one-stars, like Trump, will do his bidding and should be fast-tracked to higher rank where they can hold important commands, where they can do damage to the security of the United States and the democratic institutions of the United States. I would be worried about his role in promotions.
Yeah.
Not to mention that he has openly talked about turning the military on, the enemies within, Americans.
Yeah, it's like trying to make the movie 300 with the Little Rascals. We are Sparta. Come on, Petey.
How about this, where the Republican Party is nearly a quarter of Republican voters say they want Trump to run for a third term in 2028, despite that being, what's the word, Jody? Illegal? Unconstitutional?
Oh, no, they'll fix it. His Supreme Court will fix it and arrange it for him.
Can you predict anything? Whether his Supreme Court will wipe their ass with the 22nd Amendment? I don't know.
Yep. They'll find a reason.
Yeah.
They'll hire some lawyers. They'll get some more Judge Cannons to do his bidding.
Tracy in Mesa, Arizona, you're on with Carlos.
Hey, y'all. Carlos, I have reason to believe that RFK Jr. has been giving medical advice to players in the NFL.
Yeah, particularly the 49ers.
Did you see this article about... Yeah, did you see this article that Chad Ochocinco, he was on some podcast and said that when he was playing, he used to collect urine from his teammates and heat it up and soak his ankles in it to prevent injuries?
Ew. That's a lot of jellyfish stings.
Yeah, it is.
Ew.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
People are looking...
Are leeches going to be back? Because they're gross.
They'll be
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Chad Ochocinco.
Wow. So
I love how he supports soccer, but not that move.
I love that boys call the sports with you.
Oh, by the way, I'm wearing this Giants jersey, and I'm really upset right now because the Dodgers just bought Blake Snell. They're not powerful enough. They have to buy another World Series. And sports are greed, and greed is evil, and that represents Trump.
Okay, thank you.
Did you just say the Dodgers were like Trump?
Yes. As a matter of fact, Teenan, one of their middle relievers, is a big Trumper. And yes, they're buying up everybody. There's like, we can buy more players than you can. You will never win. We are going to win. There's no such thing as justice and fairness.
They're following the rules.
You're rich. You will lose.
They're following the rules.
Oh, dear. Dodger Blue has been impugned. Okay. In the final weeks of Biden's administration, his Department of Health and Human Services is proposing a new rule for Medicare and Medicaid recipients that will likely touch off a confrontation with the aforementioned former heroin addict Health and Human Services Director, Bobby Kennedy. They're now proposing weight loss drugs like Ozempic be covered by Medicare and Medicaid. They said the rule is necessary to fight ongoing obesity epidemic in the United States. Bobby Kennedy, very interesting what substances he thinks are okay and which ones are not. Because, right?
We're now making coke with heroin.
I can't believe he said that out loud, that heroin helped him study better. Okay, so
Not just he
kids
said
will
it
not
out
get
loud, he said it
vaccinated,
on
but they'll
tape.
get heroin for study hour? Pardon?
He was on tape on camera.
Top of class,
saying it.
bitches.
Okay. All right, then. By the way, Trump's only going to get creepier and more demented. Have we mentioned that part?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see this? Donald Trump, she's a little African-American girl at his golf club. He asked a young fan if he could buy her hair for millions of dollars during a bizarre encounter at his Florida golf club. He was driving his little, what are those things called? Buggies? Golf carts, whatever.
Buggy.
He suddenly spotted the young girl and said, "Oh, I love that girl. I love that hair. I want her hair. Can I buy your hair?
Ew.
I'll pay you millions for that." Is that not the creepiest?
Ew.
Yeah.
The girl appeared to say, "I voted for you." She's a little girl. First of all, she didn't. Trump then called the girl beautiful. Ew, ick.
Ooh,
and invited
gross.
her to join him in the golf cart. No!
Don't do
No,
it.
stay away.
Can I
God.
buy your hair?
He's the chitty chitty bang bang guy. Ice cream, lollipops, all free today. I love your hair.
So weird. Okay. By the way, speaking of his golf club, so this assassination attempt, quote unquote.
12 miles away or something.
The man alleged to have plotted an assassination attempt, penned a lengthy letter from his jailhouse in which he railed against Democrats and contemplated civil war. All this, them blaming Democrats. These are two lunatics.
Angry white males.
Thank you. The letter was sent to Politico days before the election, but was just published Tuesday. In it, Ryan Ruth, the guy arrested at the golf club, he also urged Americans to surround the Capitol if Trump lost the election. Trump had railed against Democrats after the attempt and said, "Their rhetoric is causing me to be shot at." Obviously, Ruth's letter shows no affinity to the Democratic Party. I mean, the fact that he used this to, play victim again is just extraordinary.
No, the only thing that kind of tracks is that those ear patches were made by Democratic workers who were non-union, being underpaid.
But once again, I blame the mainstream media. It's like, and the first guy was a registered Republican as well. I mean, why that they let them spin it that, it's Democratic rhetoric that's causing this against, poor Trump. I can't.
Don't normalize him, folks. Do not normalize this demon.
God. All right. Oh, you know what? In the Parade of Horribles, we haven't gotten to yet. I don't mean to be shallow, but what is wrong with Kash Patel's eyes? Jesus Christ, he looks like
heroin. Here, Cash, have some heroin. It'll help you.
He's just like a rage doll. Like his eyes, like he's so angry all the time. His eyes are. So they're talking about he would get some FBI, Justice Department somewhere. Trump is considering naming him to a position that would not require Senate confirmation. Patel would be extremely controversial selection for any leadership role, including director of the FBI. One analyst said he has repeatedly talked about using the Justice Department to go after Trump's political enemies and the media. The transition team seems to have accepted that Patel would not be confirmed, even by a Republican-led Senate. He's the personification of MAGA rage about the Justice Department and the FBI, according to one insider. Trump said he's going to, after Trump said he's going to mete out his revenge, it looks like he's going to have a job. Well, he'll be able to do that and do equal damage at the CIA, where he has also waged war on the intelligence community. I mean, Carlos, this is, they're going to be populated by people that are going to want to destroy the things they're supposed to be leading. And God knows how that's going to work out for us.
They're not cabinet picks, they're Dick Tracy thugs. It's just, it's laughable. And it's frightening. It is frightening when people that are not qualified are put into leadership positions.
Yeah.
You thought the first administration was bad and his handling of COVID was bad. Strap in.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why we need all the love we can get. Melanie says, Steph, I want to thank you, Jody, Chris, and guest rock star Lonnie for being here. I have family that voted for him. I tried to reach them. They couldn't or wouldn't ever give me a single reason why they were voting for him. That awful non-answer and what it means, that awful sinking feeling when I talk with them. I don't think the fever will ever break, and it's incredibly sad, but I'm grateful for all of you and this wonderful community you've built. We need all of you now more than ever. Love and light, Melanie. Back at you, Melanie. Right? It's like you keep saying,
it's not
Carlos,
like you have to hate them, but
go to Disney,
you're multiplying by
be with your family. I go bike riding, do stuff that, feeds your soul. And, but we got to stay in this fight.
Yeah, I have some friends that are of the Trump ilk, and I will have to interact with them. It doesn't mean I have to continue to interact with them, and I can be polite. But this is not a political argument. It's a moral argument.
Yeah.
You can be politically disparate and say, I have some conservative values. I have some, I'm religious. I'm spiritual. And those differences are fine. But you cannot justify voting for that person, especially when you know better. When you know better.
Carlos, that's what I mean. I keep saying this isn't normal politics. Oh, we disagree on the border or tax rates or whatever. This is, you voted for a despicable rapist, felon, traitor to this country. Just based on any of his rhetoric. I'm sorry, I know we're not supposed to talk down to people. I'm sorry, you are stupid and you're evil if you voted for this stupid, evil man. I mean, I don't know. We are in 1930s Germany. I'm not going to hedge my words.
Yeah. I just want to do a man on the street interview out in front of churches going, excuse me, how was the service? Great. Did you vote for Trump? Yeah. It's not working.
It's not taking.
You don't need to go
Whatever's
anymore.
going on in there, it's not taking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not taking. It didn't work.
Yeah. 46 minutes after the hour. This port. Good morning, Cliff Schechter. Hiya.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Oh, hi. Oh, you look startled to be on. Hi.
I actually was quickly, because I care so much, Stephanie, about us, was promoting that I was going to be on my various 47 different Twitter-like apps.
Yeah, me too.
I'm now on,
you. Thank God I have no life, because I post everywhere.
I don't know what way is up at this point. I may just retreat to YouTube and hide, because I've been happy there.
You just know, as Jody Hamilton says, that we need to fight. We need to fight.
Oh, it's not about lack of fighting.
Here we go. Fight! Yeah! Fight! Yeah! Fight! I ain't going down, I'm swinging! Yeah! Fight! Yeah! Fight! What? Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
All right, now we're in the mood.
Karate in a bit.
Yeah.
But Cliff, we have had this conversation, jokingly, but all the people we have on the show are awful liberals. You, Bob Seska, which thank God you're, part of the Tuesday Bob Seska show now. You guys are both fantastic together. But we've been having this conversation for a long time, haven't we, about alpha liberals, about we need to somehow I don't think we have to lie and cheat the way they do, but I think we have to fight differently somehow. And I think, interestingly, what Jen Rubin said is I don't know if you heard it, but I think that's an example, isn't it?
It is. Again, I'm not acting like I'm some genius, because there have been a lot of other people who've been saying this as long as me. But, there are clips that Bob loves to show, that one where I beat up on Cleta Mitchell on MSNBC. They're still. I got banned for that, but way back then, because I was too mean. Liberals weren't supposed to be mean.
Well, you were just spitting facts. You were talking about all of the Republicans that were indicted and crooked.
Right. I don't know how to do this any other way, so I don't get timidity. I don't get bending the knee. Like, none of that makes sense to me. When someone is a bully and they hit you and they punch you, you punch them in the nose back. And, of course, I'm talking rhetorically here. But so, no, we don't need to lie and cheat. But my refrain for 20 years now, and we've gotten better, right? We have some great ones in the House. But I kept asking, are we going to be able to get there soon enough and have enough of a critical mass? And we didn't, which is everything they say with the same passion, they lie and weave conspiracies about us. Yeah. We need to tell the truth about them because we don't need to lie. Everything they stand for, everything they are is unpopular to like 3/4 of the population.
How could lies be any worse about Donald Trump than the truth?
I know. What are we going to make up? You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you about one issue because we had a caller that was talking about the border. It's obviously one of the issues, and I said the thing that is so infuriating is Republicans have figured out how to make their obstructionism work politically. Like, let's face it, them being obstructionist douchebags worked in this case, and we thought, oh my God, this is so out in the open, this isn't going to work. Like Trump literally is telling them to kill the most conservative border bill ever, But it worked, so that they could continue to fearmonger on the border when we all know it was Trump and Republicans that killed the border bill.
Right, and again, look, this is the same problem we've had, right? They have this huge megaphone. They dump billions into it. Again, as I like to say before, if anybody thinks that Ben Shapiro, a guy who sounds like he sucked on a helium balloon for overnight, and makes muscles that go downward, and I knew Chris would appreciate it. Has the charisma of J.D. Vance ordering donuts, became a phenomenon on his own. Somebody at that time, I remember looking, was spending, I'm not saying hundreds of thousands, millions on Facebook ads to create him. And I'll just say this because it sounds self-serving, so I won't talk about me. You, like, somebody should just say, here's Stephanie Miller, you'll like this. Here's $5 million.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious though. Like, not $5 million, stuff your pockets and go live on an island. But here's $5 million. Expand your staff, expand your footprint. Yeah. Get modern technology, blow up, advertise even more, do everything. Nobody does this on our side, so we're all left to our own.
Thank you.
And the vast majority of people like me and you who haven't found ways to make it this and make a living. I have so many smart messaging people on the left. We've lost a generation of them. They're doing corporate comms because they could not. The right would have said, here, have a seat at the Heritage Foundation for $250,000 a year. Go on Fox and get a contributorship.
Love it about Netanyahu.
Now what do you have? You have the International Criminal Court coming after the Prime Minister of Israel, the Defense Minister of Israel, for trying to defend the Jewish state. If you help the ICC, we're going to crush your economy.
Oh, gosh, you're so macho. He is a war criminal, just saying, Netanyahu. Okay. One less.
I hope the far left heard that.
Yeah, hi.
I hope the far left that wouldn't vote for Harris heard that. We tried to tell you.
Yeah.
I was the one that say don't go back and litigate. But on that one, I'm sorry. You got to go there.
Just when you thought you were out?
Exception.
Just when you thought you were out, I dragged you back in.
That's right. You dragged me back in. Dragged me right back in.
One more Thanksgiving love letter. Thanksgiving love letter from Patricia. Oh, and also, hang on, hold please. Esther and Emma. You get Esther and Emma. You do, Bobby dog.
Woof, man.
Hi, stuff. Love to you and the Mooks. Day after the election, I woke up to my sister-in-law's text, oh, happy day, oh, happy day. My whole family, except a couple of nieces, my husband and kids, are Trump supporters. They live on the East Coast, never left our hometown. They never ask about my kids, although I know all about their grandchildren. I'm just so tired of their superior attitude, and now they're emboldened. I am so sad. We loved the LA Sexy Liberal show. You all were so hilarious. Adam Louise' shift was dirty.
Yeah.
And hilarious.
Yeah.
The show gave me hope, damn it. You can still get it. SexyLiberal.com, $20 to experience all of that hope and enthusiasm we're going to need moving forward.
It's like a time machine.
Yes.
There you go.
Steph and the Mooks, you really are my sanity since the Bush days and Barfy McPuke shoes. Wow. That was Tom DeLay. Now we're going back.
Huh.
We love you, and we wanted to send extra love out to people that are dealing with, Trumper relatives, and, that it's just extra stressful this Thanksgiving. So we love you. All right, just one more. Crook Stack is just never going to end. A key informant for House Republicans' impeachment case against President Biden has been indicted again. This time on 10 charges of tax fraud. Oh, you remember this? This was the unreliable drunk Russian asset who was named Smirnov. Would you think you would have seen that coming?
With his name, yeah.
Jakob.
Do you know I totally forgotten they tried to impeach Biden? I'm like, once again, because Trump told them to. Because he's a vindictive piece of... Right, based on nothing. Smirnov earlier this year was indicted on charges of lying to the FBI about Biden and his son Hunter, a massive blow to GOP efforts to impeach him. Prosecutors said Smirnov claimed some of his information came from officials associated with Russian intelligence. His name is Alexander Smirnov. He's named after vodka. Who could have seen that he was an unreliable drunk?
Well,
Yeah, I don't think you could have seen that coming.
I mean...
What a cocktail.
I mean, you're talking about Russia. Who isn't an unreliable drunk there?
That's true.
Oh, God. Here in the what could possibly go wrong stack, Trump has reaffirmed once he takes office, he plans to declare a national emergency and use the military on American streets to accomplish his promise to round up and deport millions of undocumented migrants. Some militia units may see it as their duty to assist with such efforts. In fact, local police may even deputize certain militias to help them deport. What could possibly...
Andy. Let me at them. Show me where the brown people are. Me and baby are going to clean up the streets.
It is.